Alrighty, Doc here from North America. I was talking and I just realized I wasn't talking. So, didn't hear the sound. Okay, there we go. Alright, excellent. So, there we are. We're live. It's Friday, TGIF. Thank goodness it's Friday. Markets are flat, basically hanging out. Futures contract on the Dow is above 40,000 at 40,000, closed at over 40,000 last night, and it was at 40,010. Now it's at 40,030, just roaming around. It's basically a flat market, not really getting going. It's just kind of stumbling around. We're at a point where you can see I have the dollar index up there. You can see the dollar index is trying to lift up a little bit higher today. You see that right there. It lifted up yesterday. Still didn't get into a daily buy. There's that's yesterday's number. It's been in a sell, and it's probably trying to turn. You can see the green line has made a turn and it's trying to turn up through the nonlinear time manifold, but it's still behind. You can see the same thing with the weekly. It's got the fast moving up above the slow. We're seeing some strength there yesterday, and we'll see how that goes out tonight. And then we shift over to the more live, up to date. Let's go over to it. Same math, different application or platform. And let's put it up on there, right there. And there it is right there. Let's go put it up on the screen for you to see. And that's that big circle we thought, it was bouncing around, trying to support. It finally broke the line. Everything came down. And now we'll see if it climbs back above that 104.75, I guess. I don't think it's going to, but, we're going into the weekly sell there. On the beta, of course, you can see we went into the weekly sell last week, and that's why we're happy about our beta. We just need to get it to update to the 17th today, not the 16th. That's the key. Get it to update. We're still having problems writing that code correctly, but we'll get it figured out. And you can see the daily, it's been in the same slide there, for 5 full days, and starting a 6th day today. With a red dot telling us there's probably some weakness, but it's probably higher. It's like up to there, but I doubt it's through the zero line. But it's probably showing some good life. And when we go back to the more accurate one, you can see it right there. You see how they're moving up. But the weekly went into the weekly sell last week on the beta, and more than likely, you can see the fast on the weekly went into a weekly sell 2 weeks ago. And let me just take a look at the beta. It may reflect that also. Does that reflect it? Where's the blue line? There it is, right there. Yeah. So the beta did the same thing. It went back into the sell 3 weeks ago too. Back on the 29th. See, it broke through it, but it took more time for the slow to break down. And since we are looking at the stuff live and you're not, we try to give you the slow because it's a lot safer for you to try to build positions on or put positions on, or try to do your binaries, or we got there. Let's see what that is. See that? There we go. Send YouTube link, finding the listing. Okay, let's go do that. All right, there. Copy. Here we go, Robin. Pasto. There we are. Okie dokie. There we go. All right, now we're going to go back to that. There we are. So, yeah, you can see that action. All good here in the hood. All right, and that's the dollar index. And like I said, I don't really think it's going to do too much on the upside. I think we're really watching a market that's trying to consolidate, everywhere. All of it. Consolidate. I thought of something this morning. I really did. if this judge throws the case out and does not, falsify things against Mr. Trump, then I think the markets will be happier and stronger for it because they'll know that it's a guarantee that Mr. Trump is going to be the president. And if he falsifies, like he has been doing, he's been falsifying stuff, and they can't stop him until they go to finish the court case and then appeal it. So the judge has actually been falsifying it, and his daughter's making millions of dollars from it. And they're so blatant. It's like a banana republic here in the United States at this moment in time. It's really insane. We have like-minded judges with politicians trying to stomp out opposition voices. So I think the markets are staring at that. And I think the markets, not counting the Fed, constantly involved with QE all the time. And they have loosened, let's put it this way, they have freed up money over the last 9 months, the Federal Reserve has, to allow the stock market to grow and go and have strength. And so, we have all kinds of directions going on. What are you trading today? That's a good question. Today, I'm looking at pairs, binary positions in the S&P 500. That's where I'm headed at this point, because I think we're going to go into as I'm talking in my book. I'm thinking that the markets are going to try to consolidate and just be sideways, and only thing that'll shake it up will be, say, next Wednesday's a small noise in the background. It's the Nevada earnings coming out, but at the same time, the court case could be over with by then. And now the judge has the ability to actually say, okay, we're dismissing the jurors, I'll make the decision. He has that power to do that. Now, obviously, is that right? No. But he does have the power to do that. Then that'll go to an appeals court. So, when your daughter's making millions of dollars from the case with the way you're running it, and, it sure makes it hard to predict anything but a guilty situation. You just have to assume Mr. Trump is going to be guilty because that's what the judge wants. And he can dismiss the jury and say, okay, thank you very much, but we don't need you now. And then make the decision himself. So, I think the markets are looking at that. And I know I'm looking at that. And since I know the markets are looking at that, and I'm looking at that, you should be looking at that. And that's pretty much the whole adventure here. We try to give you a perspective of where the markets, where their heads are at, where their minds are at, so forth and so on. So, all right, that is that. So, not much more to say about the dollar. And at the same time, we know that when we look a little bit more intimately, as we take it apart and we take a look at the euro itself instead of just all 6 currencies, when you're looking at the dollar index, you're looking at 6 currencies combined together, balanced by the volume or the activity of their economies. So the largest economy, second largest economy in the world, is the European Union, and that's why the euro is the second product. You can't have could you imagine if you put the fantasy in there, what the left and our media wants to make you to believe that China is the second largest economy in the world, but somehow or another their currency doesn't move. It's fixed, doesn't go anywhere. It only trades about 2.5% a day compared to the euro or the kroner, or the kroner trades almost twice the amount of volume every day than what the Chinese yuan does, or the Swiss franc with 8.5 million people. Their currency trades twice as much than what the billion and change does. So, when we look at the dollar index, we're looking at 6 currencies. We're looking at the euro, and we're looking at 50 some odd% of the index is the euro. We're looking at the Japanese yen. That's something like 16 or 18%. I forget what the exact number is. It was right around there. It all comes out to 100 in the end. And then the next third most active currency in there is the British pound, the GBP. And then the fourth is the Canadian dollar. And the fifth is the Swiss franc. And the sixth is the kroner. So, when we look at the dollar index, we're looking at an accumulation of 6 currencies trying to interpret the action of the dollar, since they're the bulk, when only the Chinese currency itself only trades about 2 to 2.5% a day in the world, compared to all the rest of them that are trading, much larger, enormously larger. So, let me think now. So anyway, that's where we stand at this point in time, and we go to the euro. I have it up on the screen there. You can see it. The euro moving off a little bit the last couple of days. That's why the dollar index is moving up. Because and just the last bit about the yuan. The yuan is a fixed currency, so they have a committee that decides what price they're going to fix it at in China every day, and it's fixed to the dollar. So they use the dollar to do it. That's the amazing part there. So, all right, from the euro, we will. You can see here. Let's discuss it a little bit. You can see here, it's launching itself through the buy. Just launching itself through the buy. And it did that starting on Monday. And you can see the daily went into a buy here about 7 days ago, showing strength. And we can actually, I put one on the beta too. We actually have one on the beta at the moment. I have the euro and and you can see there on the beta. Let me just show you the weekly on the beta, which is surprising. It's been in a buy for 4 weeks. It picked up that strength here. And now the daily, I think I need to go let's see how we do that. Let's do this again. Let me show you the daily. The last day is always screwed up because, no, I don't want that. Nope. I want to go like there. No. Straighten this again. I know I can get this right. I can squeeze it. There it is. We can go like that. Even tougher, isn't it? Let's try it again. It's so tight because the math is so small. I'm not getting that. Whereas when I go over to the British pound, it straightens out because it's a different calculator. But the last day is always screwed up too. But you can see there that has also been 4 out of 5 weeks in a buy. So it started its right in here. It picked up the buy there and just kept on rolling. Let's put that up on the other platform. And there it is. There's cable. You see cable. The fast jumped up 3 weeks ago. You see that. And probably on the euro, the fast did the same thing. Yeah, so the fast did the same thing 3 weeks ago. And then on the beta, you can see the beta, it had that hesitation. This is 3 weeks back right there. But 5 weeks back it started because the fast leaped up even more. It read it differently. It's getting a different data feed than the data feed that I have on the platform here. Which, in fact, Giannis, are you out there, Giannis, today? Are you around? Because we need to talk about that key thing again to feed the new one possibly. So yeah, that's the action we're seeing on the individual currencies themselves. They're showing that strength, and I would believe that we're going to see sideways consolidation. They're not looking for interest rate cuts until after the election now. A lot of people are kind of, in the financial markets, are assuming that there's no way that the Fed will throw its total reputation out the door. It's already thrown its reputation out the door. with the misunderstanding of what inflation is. Unfortunately, the federal chair of the Federal Reserve, Mr. Powell, is not very clear on understanding that. And I guess what's really starting to make some problems is that over the last 3 weeks, Mr. Biden has been trying to tell everybody that he inherited the high inflation from Mr. Trump. And he keeps on telling people that when he took over, inflation was at 9% at the peak of his own administration instead. And I don't think Mr. Trump's inflation rate ever got past 1.5. But and when he turned the administration over to Mr. Biden, it was at 1.4. But he keeps on telling people that. And yesterday, accidentally, I guess it got to a point where one of these middle of the road talking heads on one of the news channels actually challenged the economist of President Biden and said, "Why do you keep on lying about the idea that you started with a 9% inflation rate?" And so then he tried to dodge it, and it turned into a fight live on TV. And the fellow on the news fellow itself is usually willing to put up with lies, but I guess it's starting to get a little thick now. People are really getting tired of hearing the president's economist and the president himself keep on saying it. He said it twice in the last 2 days. Again, he keeps on saying it, and people are like, "No, inflation was at 1.4, not 9% when you took office." And so it seems to be collapsing. The insanity. You can only be so crazy and stupid so long, and then sooner or later, people actually start to pay attention. And so that's why we're seeing all this emphasis, and then that's why we're hearing people thinking, well, maybe the markets are going to consolidate more. They believe the market should consolidate for like the next 3 or 4 months, not start running up. But if Mr. Trump actually survives, there's only going to be one court case this year at this point. All the rest are gone. They're all trapped in their lies, so they can't go forward anymore. But this one is so entrapped in its lies that the judge is going to have to literally get rid of the jury and just declare Mr. Trump guilty, when in fact his donor is making millions of dollars from it at the same time. Making live. She's making videos, and they're building videos off of the court case, and they're getting paid millions to do it. And so it's the weirdest thing to see this thing go on live in front of our faces, and the markets feel it. They know it. I mean, think about the rally we just saw in the stock market. We saw at one point the Dow was 5%, 4%, something like that, and up that much, or 3.5%, 4%, and then the S&P 500 was up 10%, and the NASDAQ, or the Tech 100, was up only 5%. And within a matter of a week or so, 2 weeks, it turns around where about both the S&P 500 and the Tech 100 is up 11.5%, and the Dow is up about 5.5%. And so you can see they're trying to lift these markets to add to Mr. Biden's track record of how great a president he has been. Problem is that everything else is falling apart. And so it's really turning into more and more of a disaster. And so that's where we really stand at the moment, is that when we look at the dollar, this all falls looking at the dollar. Dollar's like a pure indicator in many ways of what money thinks about the markets. We used a headline yesterday or the day before. We talked about stupid money, and then we talked about hot money, and we started to talk about smart money, and then also stupid money. And so, we have those labels in the financial industry, in the hedge fund industry, in the exchange industry, or the old exchange industry at this point. And so, that there are real analogies that we have in the marketplace, and they describe specific types of events and characteristics. So that's where we are, traders. All right. As I wear you down, please ask a question so I can drift out of my own head and into something that somebody else might be interested in talking about. And so from there, we're going to go over to, let's take a look at the Swiss. True inflation fighters. They don't walk around saying goofy things like transitory. They just quickly just protect. They raise rates and they stopped the bleed, I guess you could say. They put a tourniquet on it, and they did a good job. And you can see that for the Swiss still down in the 90 area. I mean, it could have been as ugly as the American market if they ignored it. And the next thing you know is we're back to 101 again against the dollar. But we're not. We're only at 90, and that's fine. That means that the Swiss National Bank is running the country right, not like our Federal Reserve, who is out there doing all kinds of fun things in the name of politics. All right, from there, and you can see there too, at the same time, Swiss is trying. Oh, you can't even see that. The Swiss is trying to get into the weekly sells. You can see right there. It's been trying it all week long. It's going to be interesting to see if it finishes off that way today. It's on the edge. You can see the daily is flirting with the buy today with no problem. So that's not bad. I just took a piece of chocolate into my mouth. I just wanted some energy. There we go. So there we go. I won't do that again. Just the whole idea with the Swiss. It's a very steady. Excuse me. It's a very steady product. It's very easy to read. It's nice to see it trade. It gives us insight to how money thinks. Because it's not launching itself up to 101. They're not scared. They're telling us that it's a consolidation. That's what it's trying to tell us. All right. And then from there, we'll go over to the yen. There is the yen. They've really calmed down from some of this big move action. Still in the weekly buy with no problem. Fast is breaking the zero line with no problem right now, but it might just do the same thing as it did there again and then just turn right back up again. Well, let's say this. Let's hope it doesn't. That obviously hurts the population in Japan, just like we always feel sorry for the population in Turkey. So, we don't wish that to happen. We just are identifying how the math is acting, and it might do that. So it'll be interesting to see next week's market where the slow is staying in the buy with no problem above the nonlinear time manifold right there, no less. And at the same time, you can see the histogram and the green line. Well, the histogram has dropped underneath it, but the green line has not. So we'll see how they treat this next week if we just get a curve bounce again, especially with this thing trying to lift up. Now, you see we got a green and a red, so there might be some vol coming in. You see when we get green and reds, we can get some action out of it. And like when we had it right here, we got a green and a red right there, and then 4 days went by and then launched again. It can be the green reds can identify some real action to come. Once in a while, you can see, let's widen this out. So because you can see when this dropped here, let's widen it out more. Most of the time, and I always say the green red together tells us that there's something to come, be it a move up, a move down, which is usually following our math, or a trap, an envelope like a trap inside. In this case here, we got it, and they made a higher high and a lower low the next day, and then did a lower low and a lower high the next day, and then another one, and then it started to move up. And then you can see it just kind of was a little lost, and then finally, it kind of couldn't get its act together in a sense. Well, it was just sideways, and then finally broke out. As our math broke out here, went into the buy there, but as the math broke out, it was telling us that there was strength coming. Now we never can say if it's going to be a lot of strength or a little strength. We just know it's strength. That's all we know. We know the direction. It gives us a good, clean idea what the direction is going to be, the trend of it all. It's never perfect. It always is. It's choppy. It's got that saber tooth thing, but 85 or 86% of the time it has a correct signal to it, which is nice to have the right direction. So depending on the vehicle that you use, like a binary or a naked call or a naked put, or a combination of the underlying product itself with an option married to it, it depends on the type of vehicle you use to try to gain from it. Okay, traders? And we're being a little educational today here. So then what we see here again is when you get that red and green, you had it again right there. A couple of days later, it really starts to take off again, and the math is in the buy. You can see that from that line there all the way to up in here, it was in a buy. And that's what you get out of it. The trend was up, and obviously if you had some type of vehicle that was trying to play the upside, sooner or later you're a winner chicken dinner. And that's basically about 86 out of 100 times, or 8.5 out of 10 times, or however you want to phrase it. All right, from there we're going to drift over to the great experiment, as we like to call it, and that is the Turkish lira. Right there. And you can see the pressure has been on it for the last 4 days on the upside, and at the same time it went into the weekly buy again last week, and that's kind of like what we're suggesting. You see this action here with the fast, right there, the fast broke down, and then the slow did not, and then and you can see the weakness in it, and then it finally the slow breaks down with it, and it doesn't take but more than 1 week, and it turns right back up again because the pressure and at the same time you can see the fast. Let me just go like this. You can see the fast right there, has broke through the zero line, which, let me put the zero line in there too so you can see it a little bit better. There's the zero line. You see that the fast, after being down, starts to break and breaks the slow line at the same time, the green line, and starts, tells you that the pressure is on the upside. And it tries to hesitate through it for over a week, but then finally it gets its game together and it starts to make little teeny highs and higher lows. The next thing you know is you're higher than you are here as it's breaking through right there. And so that's a way of reading our math, so you can appreciate it more. Let's see, where is that? That is the Turkish lira, and that's pretty much where we end it when it comes to the currencies, unless you want to see something. Step right up, choose a currency. We go now to the South African rand, which to us is like a metals indicator of precious metals, gold, silver, so forth, platinum. And so, and I saw a great headline today too. They said that pretty much everybody's been waiting for the massive spike. How did it say it? Let me put that headline up there. I thought it was so good. It's a copper headline. Let's see. Where's it at? It's on here somewhere. Let's see. It's probably right there then. There it is. Zero hedge. And there it is right there. Gold bugs waited years for a... I'll just put it up on the screen totally. There it is. Gold bugs waited years for a massive COMEX short squeeze and finally got it, just in the wrong metal. And that's copper. Copper has gone, has made some really interesting moves there. You can see that. It was down in the 350, 360 area, and now has basically come up and kissed the $5 area. It's a heck of a move. It's like a 30-some-odd% move. And then let's go back to there. And at the same time, let's throw gold in there. And we'll throw, there's gold right there. You see gold climbing and up again today, flirting with the $2,400 area. You can see the daily buy for 3 days now in a buy. We're waiting for today's to kick out. But it's obviously, with it up and a green dot, we know that more than likely it's right there like that. And at the same time, we're a day back on the weekly. So we still have another day to go for it to for it to close today, and we'll see it on our chart going into Monday night. That's the problem with our coding. We're trying to straighten that out. And at the same time, let's go over to the South African Rand over here, and then we're going to put gold up over there too at the same time. And so there is the South African Rand right there. And it's still on that nice big downwardly slope, and metals should be going up, and obviously copper's doing it, and so is gold, and so is silver. So let's give you a flavor of it right. Let's see, where is that? Right there. There's the gold. And gold, which was flirting with a weekly sell, has pushed back up on that platform. And I'd imagine it'll do the same on the beta. Just because of the height of it all and the math. And you can see here it's pushing up already. So more than likely it is there. And let's take a look at it again. Gold there. It's pushing. It's trying to push up. The fast is moving up. The green line is literally rubbing up against the 0 line, and the histogram is like literally inches away from climbing back into the plus. And so we'll wait till tomorrow, and it's just Saturday, and we'll know what they're starting to project there, especially on the Sunday night Monday. That's why it does that goofy. Monday is what? Today is the 17th, 18th, 19th. So the 20th is Monday, so it'll reverse. It'll say like 19, it'll say 2019 back and forward because it's all confused in the math. We have to try to get that straightened out. We're working on that code. Once that's done, we'll be able to offer the beta with no problem whatsoever. So then we go back to there, and you can see there that strength there in the gold. See the strength there in the silver. Cleanly through the $30 area. Been in the buy since the high 27s, and the weekly is not really having much issues. And then when we go to the beta, you can see the same thing. Beta has been in the long buy from here, and at the same time, that weekly is nowhere near hesitant whatsoever about being in the buy. It's fine. So that's just shows you how much more strength is roaring into the silver market compared to the gold market. I mean, we got to figure that gold's all-time high is only about $30 away, but for silver, its all-time highs is like 20 some odd dollars away. So, it's a big difference, enormously big difference. All right. Sounds like the number one golfer in the world got arrested out in front of the golf course. That sounds weird. All right, and then from there, let's take a look at platinum. And there's the platinum. As we say, this is the most dangerous short in the world. You just don't want to be short this thing because it's so undervalued. You go into a jewelry shop and try to buy platinum, it's still as expensive as ever. More expensive than gold. And then you go to the exchange, and we've explained why that is. It's plain and simple. Every fund, every hedge fund, every mutual fund, every retirement fund has a gold manifesto in the incorporation. And so if they allowed gold to drift up to where it belongs with the insanity of balance sheet by the Fed going from 300 billion to 9.5 trillion, then gold would be obviously a hell of a lot higher, but it can't be higher because if it does, it puts pressure on the stocks. And if the stock market falls, then the existing president doesn't have anything to campaign on. So they need to keep. They really need to keep it alive. They really do. They need to keep the stock market firm, steady. And it's just not. It's just not any. There's nothing left if they don't keep the stock market up. And the stock market's so small compared to the bond market or the currency market, they can manipulate it very easily. And at the same time, the gold market, which is the third largest market in the world, you have the bond market, which is the number one, and then you have the currency market is number two, and then you have the oil market, it's number three, and then you have the gold market, and then behind the gold market is the stock market when it comes to sheer size. So it's the fourth largest market. All right, so that's why we see platinum. They've been selling platinum short, and they've gotten carried away. The Federal Reserve or whoever's manipulating the gold. It's the Federal Reserve in the end, but they've sat on the platinum market because they need to offset their position. All right, so that's the platinum. Last but not least, let's take a look at the big bull. And there it is right there, copper. Kind of cooled off the last couple days. Nothing major. It's actually flirting with a sell, but it is lifting up again today. Let's take a look at it over here on the other platform. It's the same way. It's very choppy and not really gripping, but it has moved up a 33% move over the last bunch of months, which is a super duper big move. Yeah. Right there. There's the copper market. Now you can see here, today what is that? That's the July contract has broken the $500 area live at that moment and time. And then over on the beta, it's doing the same thing. It's over $5. Let's just make this bigger so you can see it. So there's 490 right there. It's over $5 right now, as you see right there. And as much as they're trying to push it down yesterday, what's that say, the 16th? Yeah. So they tried to push it into the sell yesterday, and it's lifting back up again today. Look at that big weekly buy. There's no way in the world you'd try to play that little short. Take a little profit. That's about it. There we are. So that's the monster move, the big monster move. Since March, it's gone from $4 to $5. That's a 20% move. And no more than a couple weeks before that, let's go back over to the other platform. You can see here it was in the 350 area. It was down in the 350, 370 area in February. So it's gone over 3 months, the middle of February to March, March to April, and now we're in the middle of May. 3 solid months. Basically, we've seen this product go from $3.75 to $5. You're heading into a 40% move. 30 is it like 28% move, 29% move. Beautiful move, incredible, just incredible. And I think the lowest we saw was like 360. I think at one point you can see here on our weekly. Let's just move it over a little bit, using that as like a starting point. We were in that week. We were down in the 373 area, I guess. That's what it was. Right there is 370. And now we're at $5. So that's a fantastic move. From 370 to $5, $1.30. And $1.30, is a big move for a product that was trading at 370. Half of that is 180. Was it 185? So, it's a big move. And that's why they put that headline up there, that copper has become the runaway metal. Okay. All right, and that is the copper. And that completes the metals complex. From the metals complex, we drift our way over to the energy sector. And there is crude oil right there. And crude is trying to get into the buy today. You can see that right there. Glad I filled up the gas tank. And you can see it right here. Let's put crude in again there. And there's the crude. Doing the same thing. It's trying to climb into the... Oh, it did climb into the buy. That's the 16th. And it's definitely doing it now. You can see that. That's the 17th today right there. And it wasn't in there yesterday, but the histogram was pushing up. And unfortunately, the weekly is still in a sell. So I don't know how much strength we're going to see out of that. but it's doing it. So you got to take it serious. You can't just turn your head and blindly think, oh, I'm not going to care. And same thing here. You can see in those weekly sell, but battling to get into the buy today, just like the beta. Hmm. Okay. All right. Now from there we go over to, there we are. And there is Brent, North Sea oil, doing the same thing. You know, weekly sells, trapped down here in the 92, the 8, is that 82, 82 to 84, bouncing around there. You know, you can see it. You know, trying to build a base, and it's trying to lift up today a little bit less than the regular. But then I just see a red dot. I think it was a red dot, green dot for a second there even. And you can see it's the histogram is trying to turn up. And then from there we go over to natural gas, which has been on a roar. You can see that right there, just roaring up, weeks upon weeks in buys, right there, and days upon days in buys. And then we go over to here and check it out. The same way, it'll confirm it to you. There it is right there. You know, it's the strength. They did it yesterday and failed. They're trying to do it again today. Look at the ziggy-zaggy lines of our algorithm. And a weekly buy for two. This is the third week in a weekly buy. And that's the energy sector. Minus, we go to Spain. Just double check what the stock looks like in the energy sector in Europe. And you can see here, they just keep on flirting with the 25. Right there. Just bouncing around between the 24 right there and the 25. And you can see the daily for the last day and a half has been pressing down these 2 days. And we'll see what today brings. More than likely the same situation. But you can't take the short because why, traders? We're in weekly buys. All you can do is take the profits. If you were long from here, take a little profit up there. Remember, traders, we always try to remind you this. That is, if you have a position on and you're making money in it, you don't take it off when you're making money. The next time you're taking it off is when you're losing money. So take a profit. All right. And that's the way it's going in Europa. The energy company stock is lifting, usually because natural gas is lifting. And when we do look at natural gas, we'll just throw it up on here again. Right there. It's doing the same thing. Going up just like that stock. That stock and natural gas match with each other all the time. That's like glue. It's like white on rice. You know, it's always right along. You know, it's never a doubt. If the natural gas is going up, that stock is going up. If the natural gas is going down, that stock goes down. And it's been very consistent for the last year and a half, 2 years now that we've been following it. And it's interesting to watch and see. So from there, what else we got going on from there? That's it. That's the energy sector of it all. So let's go take a look at how global markets dealt with the American all-time high yesterday. And there is the Nikkei. You can see it's in a buy for a few days here now and having a little problem. It was just down a little bit last night. Nothing major because it's higher. It did close higher than it closed on Thursday, that's for sure. And the weekly is turning up too at the same time. So it tells us that the world is, thinking about this a lot more heavier. They're starting to reach for the stocks themselves, because the American stocks are taking off. From there we go over, but let me just emphasize this one more time. There's all-time highs right there. And it obviously is not challenging that at the moment. It's not far away, but it's just not challenging it. Now let's go over to the Kospi. Right there. That's the South Korean index. and it's up around the March highs. So it's outperforming the Nikkei, but it's been in the daily sell since it got up into here somewhere. It started here at the daily sell, right around in here, and it's been in the sell, and it has tried to climb, and it is climbing. And now we have the weekly getting into the weekly buy. So maybe they're going to take it a little bit higher and then consolidate from there, or stall out up in here and go sideways. It's hard to say. You can see how the weekly, even with it, going into the sell up in here and then bottoming back in between April 14th and April 21st, you see we hit the low here and then started to climb slowly, not fast, but slowly. But the product itself went back to the March highs. So that's what a consolidation probably looks like now. It'll have, like, I guess, an overlap. It'll show the strength, but it won't necessarily algorithmically, like technically, not start making a strong move. Now from there, we're going to go take a look at Taiwan. There's the Taipei index right there. Taipei. Huh. Huh. And so you can see here it's been in a weekly buy now for 5 weeks, and it's climbed throughout those 5 weeks nicely. And we're looking at the last 3 days in a buy, more than likely a fourth day, solely because it's got a green dot there today. And we're still looking at yesterday's close, which will kick out. And there's yesterday's close with the weekly. So more than likely there's no problem there. It's going to stay in that buy. From there we'll go over to the Philippines. Get a flavor there. It's got 3 days in a buy. 1 week going into the buy now. You see it's not taking out any March highs here, but it is in a buy and it's trying to lift up, and it was up again last night. So more than likely it'll be easily a fourth day in a buy. And let's see. So I'm listening to the top golfer in the world got in a fight with some police officers. He's in jail right now, and there's a big tournament going on. So this is definitely weird, and so it's all over the news now in the United States. And they got his mugshot up there in his orange little outfit, and him and Trumpy. And let's see, we go from there. What do we do? We go from there to the Singapore. No, I'm sorry, to Shanghai. Let's go over to Shanghai now. There is the they're doing some interesting things in China. Let me show you a headline. I find it fascinating. You can see all the weeks in a buy. You see the product had climbed, made a nice bottom out of that April low that a lot of them did, and it's taken out the March highs. It's cool, but it's like trapped on the top of it. But look at this headline. They're going to put $42 billion. Let me put that up there. They're going to put $42 billion. The Chinese government is trying to prop up the real estate market. We've seen some incredible disasters with the market there, and a lot of bankruptcy, and the government really didn't do too good about and there's an interesting headline. $2.5 trillion of options expire today. Well, I can tell you I have the same thing going on there. Drop after grand. Although let's see, where is it at? There it is, right there. Let's put that up there. Oh, you can't see it now. There it is. It says People's Bank of China unveils $42 billion monetary cannon to boost debt-stricken housing market. They've lost two major corporations now, and I don't know why it took so long to put this money up. I mean, it would, if they'd only put up, I guess it's being a communist. You don't actually understand, markets, because If they had only put out, say, 150, maybe $200 million, they could have propped up those real estate companies, and wouldn't have had to go bankrupt. So the largest, Evergrande, and there's another one. Both of them went bankrupt over the last year and a half, and the government did nothing to really protect it. Now they're going to put $42 billion into the market, which to me says, wouldn't have been better if they'd just put like $420 million in it and propped up those two companies, which then it's like a quantitative easing thing, and let them grow out of it. But they didn't do that. They couldn't pay their bondholders, which was very strange. When you have a company worth like $11 billion and you can't find $25 million to pay a bond. It's like, wow, what you do with the $11 billion if you can't take $25 million out of it to prop up a company? So I have to laugh at that. It's like, whoa, that's scary, So, okay, so there is the Hang Seng and I'm sorry, the Shanghai. It's the Shanghai, and they're trying to keep it. They're trying to keep it up. It's doing a half decent job. You can see the weekly is a little curving, but nothing major. It's still very strong. And then we go over to Hong Kong, the Hang Seng, and that's hot. That's burning hot. Look at that. There's the March highs. Look where it's at now. What was that? That was at the March highs were 17,000. Now it's trading at 19,500. I mean, you're talking hot, hot, hot. I mean, that's rock and roll, baby. And you can see here the daily buys with no problem, weekly buys no problem. So definitely, money thinks that, and I guess they knew it. Who knows? The communists probably are front running the market. I mean, they control the market, so they can front run the market, and so they might have been long Hong Kong and just flat their own market and watch it explode up, knowing that they're going to throw $42 billion at it. And they probably, we've always tried to explain that. Remember, I'm a political hack, so I'm involved in politics on a professional level. And so you can see here, literally almost 1 month out. What happens when you're on a committee, okay? When you're on a committee in politics, and they put out, the chair puts out, and the secretary of the committee puts out what's going to be on the agenda for the next month. Okay, and look at that. 1 month out, they put a bottom in the Hang Seng because they knew that, let's go back to that headline. Where's that headline? Let's go back to that headline. I've showed that in the Chinese market, not the Chinese, in the Japanese market they do that. You can see 1 month out, all of a sudden, our math turns, and we go like, I don't know why it's going up, but I guess it's cool, huh? And you can see here, PBOC unveils $42 billion monetary cannon to boost debt. They didn't decide that today. They decided that 30 days ago. I can tell you that for a fact. Because they have committee meetings, they have discussions, they say, okay, now they probably voted on it. When it says PBOC unveils 40, they voted on it in committee the last 2 days. Did they talk about it for the last 30 days? Did they know they have the votes lined up? Well, you tell me. Looking at the Hang Seng, 30 days ago, almost perfectly to the day. We've showed you this in other countries. It's not just the communist countries that do this. The regular countries do it. They have committee meetings. They decide. They know 30 days ahead of time. Japan does it all the time. You can see them front run the market all the time. And it's amazing. And it's right there in their face. And we keep on, just living with it. And so you can see there was no problem. They knew. Oh, wait, that's natural gas. Where's it? Let's go. Oh, it's right here. That's what it is. So there's the Hang Seng right there. It knew. They knew 30 days back. They knew. They knew the committee, was selling down. Then the committee said, we're gonna try to prop up our real estate market, and we'll have a vote on it next meeting, 30 days out, which is always how it works. And sometimes it's 2 weeks out. But, a matter of fact, there you can see the bump 2 weeks out right there. But, that's the way they work. It's the way it works for everything. I was a chairman of a committee. Everybody knows what we're thinking. We start counting the votes. We know 30 days out if it's going to pass or not. We have a great idea. And then the next thing you know is then you can invest ahead of time because you know it's going to prop up the market. And in our case, we never did anything like that. But there are that do. They don't take the fiduciary responsibility. They're a bunch of pigs. As we like to say in the trading markets, bulls make money, bears make money, and pigs go to slaughter. All right, traders, I'm done. It's Friday, and we got only 4 minutes left before the market opens up. So I'm going to get my position set for the weekend. So this is Doc. We're going to have to come up with a headline here. I think I'm going to say it, the bulls, bears. I like that one. And so bulls make money, bears make money, pigs go to slaughter. All right. So traders, everybody have a safe and smart weekend. We will catch you all on Monday, TGIM. Thank goodness it'll be Monday. So this is Doc saying everybody have a safe and smart weekend. Happy trails to you until we meet again Monday. Happy trails to you, to all our trading friends. Later, traders.